This is a photograph of a person that we found that accompanied the article, in a website called thefederalist.com. And the article is attributed to a psychiatrist who, as we understand, is also a medical doctor by the name of Richard B. Corradi. Corradi. He may pronounce it differently because it sounds like karate, but that's the way it looks to me, so I say karate. The article is entitled this: Psychiatry Professor, Transgenderism is Mass Hysteria Similar to 1980s Era Junk Science. That gives me cause to wonder, why is it that the far left is peddling this transgenderism? Keep in mind that anytime the left does something, there's almost always a reason for it, which is probably obvious. But typically there is an underlying reason. They're trying to pull something on us. Okay, so when you look at the picture to the left of your screen, I have no idea who this guy is. In fact, I have no idea if this is even a guy, which is the point. Based upon the photograph, would you say this person has XY chromosomes, which are the chromosomes of a male, or XX chromosomes, which are the chromosomes of a female, which are present in virtually every human being with very, very few exceptions? The point is, this person almost definitely has one or the other. This person is either XY or XX. Putting on makeup does not change it. Putting on a wig does not change it. Putting on a dress does not change it. You still are what you are. Doesn't change forensics. Underneath the makeup, underneath the hair, underneath the dress, I don't even want to think of it. There is a real person. The outer trappings is not the person. Okay, what I'm going to do is post a link to this article in the description section below, because there's a whole lot to it, whole lot more to it than what I'm going to share with you. I don't want to read the whole thing because, quite frankly, it gets kind of boring, but there are some points that are interesting, and I'm going to pick out those points and read them and make my astute commentary as we go along. Annotations. All right, here's what we read. The contagion of mass delusion. Now that sounds something like I've been saying all along, that cultural Marxism is a virus that infests your brain. There is an antidote for that virus. It's called truth. It's called reality. If you expose people to reality, to the truth, it will kill that virus. Now granted, there will be some withdrawal, there will be some resistance, but nonetheless, truth kills the cultural Marxism virus because it's a lie. Here's what we read. Transgenderism would refute the natural laws of biology and transmute human nature. The movement's philosophical foundation qualifies it as a popular delusion similar to the multiple personality craze and widespread satanic ritual abuse and recovered memory hysterias of the 1980s and 1990s. And I very well remember those. I'm getting my Neil Cavuto voice. I don't know if you can tell that or not, but I'm going to try to talk through it, and maybe it'll go away. These last two involved bizarre accusations of child abuse and resulted in the prosecution and ruined lives of the falsely accused. And I remember that. There were actually men who were put in prison because psychologists convinced their daughters that those men had sexually abused them when they were children. They instilled false memories in their minds. It's amazing how malleable the mind is, how acceptable it is to weird concepts. Such popular delusions are characterized by a false belief unsupported by any scientific or empirical evidence. Okay, I'm going to back up and read that because I think you dozed off. I don't think you were paying attention, so I can see. Such popular delusions are characterized by a false belief unsupported by any scientific or empirical evidence. Now, the next point I think is even more important. He says these popular delusions have a contagious quality. Again, like a virus, contagious. Once the word gets out, they're viral. Have a contagious quality that overrides rational thinking and even common sense. Why do we believe what we believe? I don't know. Why do millions of people in India believe that cow over there could be their reincarnate ancestor? Why do they believe that dumb stuff? Why is it that people believe that there are reptilians living inside the moon? Space aliens, reptilians, right this very moment, living inside the moon. And some of the most famous people we know on Earth, like Angela Merkel, are space aliens. People believe that. And people believe that transgenderism is scientific. He goes on and he says this. We're going to wind up here in just a second, but he says, this all too human tendency to suspend individual critical judgment and go along with the crowd is greatly facilitated by social media. All right, now we've talked about this before. When we talk about the work of Robert Lifton, who back in the 1950s researched Chinese communist brainwashing techniques. And he published his research in 1961. I've got a copy of the book. When you have time, you may want to get a copy of that. It's absolutely amazing. Go to Amazon.com, type in Robert J. Lifton, and the book will pop up. But the focus in that book is on chapter 22, where he identifies 8 characteristics or 8 techniques that they use to brainwash people to, or he called it thought reform, not brainwash. Well, he did call it brainwashing, but seemed to prefer the term thought reform. Well, that's what this guy is saying here. They are in total agreement that what Robert Lifton called it was sacred science. That is, it's not scientific, but it's held to be sacred, so they will hold that instead of science. So when the ideology of a cult, or in his case communism, was accepted, the person who was brainwashed would defy real science and choose the sacred science instead of the real science. This all too human tendency to suspend individual critical judgment and go along with the crowd is greatly facilitated by social media. Most important, however, the cause has received the imprimatur of experts. The very people who should know better have bought into the hysteria. According to him, I think a lot of these guys go along with the hysteria knowing it's not true, but it's, what choice do they have? They're going to lose their jobs if they don't. Just as mental health professionals a generation ago supported child abuse delusions and even participated in prosecuting the unjustly accused, so too have they fueled the fire of transgender delusion. In other words, it's all bogus. Totally 100% bogus. Okay, I'm going to leave a link to this in the description below. But folks, let me just say this real quickly. I did a whole video on this a couple weeks ago. But let's say this pen represents reality. Now, if this were reality, I could not move it. It would be immutable. It would be steadfast. It would be fixed. It would be an absolute. Reality cannot be changed. It is what it is. The earth is round. You can't change that by believing it's flat. It just is what it is. Believing the world is round doesn't make it round. Believing it's flat doesn't make it flat. It just is what it is. Your belief system is not relative to reality in any way, and that it does not affect it. So what we need to do is gravitate our minds toward reality. And in so doing, what will happen is we will see the contrast between our belief systems and reality, and we will shed those false belief systems. That's why I say reality is the antidote that kills the cultural Marxism virus. In essence, I think that's what he's saying here when he says they have fueled the fire of the transgender delusion because they have steered us away from reality to believe a delusion. You know, you got to believe this delusion. If not, you're a homophobe. Or if you don't believe some other delusion, they call you a racist. They don't deal with reality, they deal with name-calling. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to share it on social media. Beneath is a link that says share. Click on that. In the lower right-hand corner is another button that says subscribe. If you have not yet subscribed to this YouTube channel, we encourage you to do that right now while I adjust my collar. And leave your comments below. We'd like to know what you think. Look at this guy again and tell me, male or female, XX or XY, what do you think? Keep in mind the outward trappings do not change the chromosomes. You can't change chromosomes with makeup. You can't change chromosomes with wearing a wig. You can't change chromosomes by putting on a dress.
Click the red button to subscribe.